up, everybody? We back again with another video. Today we're gonna get straight to this video. I'm gonna talk about how I first got into trucking. I know I did a video similar to this before, but what we're gonna talk about is every co-driver that I had in my experience with that, starting all the way from the beginning. Just to give you guys a little bit of a rundown where I'm at today. We are in Barnwell, South Carolina, and I really don't like coming here because they take forever. This is a live load because I'm so used to and I got comfortable with the drop and hook situation, but it's getting close to the holidays and stuff like that, so you know, we doing everything that we can possibly, because we're going to be taking off, you know, more days than usual, just to kind of like take a little bit of a break. I never really want to take the entire week off because, you know, we do have expenses and stuff like that that we want to get taken care of, even though they're not much. But I do want to run a couple days out of the week, even if I'm going to take a couple extra days off, just so that, you know, we don't end up with no type of negative check or anything like that. So let's talk about how I first originally got started. You might have heard this story before. Like, I went to CR England. I started at CR England. I was supposed to go years ago. I decided not to go because I was having a child. Didn't want to go to school and leave me over the road trucking. So I decided not to go at that particular moment. CR England was the company that I was in contact way back then. And I don't know, I didn't do a lot of research when it came to me when I wanted to come back out there with the new idea that I'm about to get into trucking at that point. So I just called up CR England. They still have my old application on file. You can say whatever you want, but I went with CR England. Of course, I talked to them, and I didn't know anything about cents per mile or nothing like that. The recruiter just told me that, you know, you're gonna make $500 a week while you're in training. So he was giving me check amounts, like weekly check amounts. I didn't know anything about cents per mile or anything like that. So I went thinking that I was going to be making $500 a week while I was in training. So that's why I went with that. Went down to the DMV, picked up a book first, and then I spent about a couple days reading the book. Went back, I think it was like on a Friday or Thursday, and I took the test, passed it. I called them up like, hey, I got my CDL permit. They was like, great. They put me on a bus immediately. I left right then, got on the Greyhound. By Sunday, I was in Salt Lake City, Utah. Checked into their little room and board situation, and immediately I was like, this ain't for me. This ain't for me, because when I got there, it was kind of late. It was like 12. It was after midnight. I know that for sure. It was after midnight, and he gave me this key and said, go up to this room. And then nothing is more awkward than walking into a room where they got 8 beds. It's like 4 bump beds, right, in one room. It was full. It was 7 people already in the room already. So I walked in, and it's late, so I don't know what you want my bed. So you click on the light, and then people just wake up like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck you doing in here type of thing. And I'm like, oh, this ain't for me. So I found my little bed. I just walked down to it, shoved my stuff in the little bunk, and I just got in the bunk and just kind of like just laid on my stuff. Just, I ain't take off no shoes or nothing. And from a long bus ride, I just kind of like sat there for a minute, laid there for a minute or whatever, and then I just dozed off. I woke up like super early, maybe 3 or 4 hours later. I'm not aware of my surroundings, so I didn't sleep very much at all. So as a few more hours went by, people was getting up, going to class and stuff like that. And then, of course, that next day, which was Monday, went into the little training class or whatever, and all we did that day was talk about paperwork and this and that, and then I think we had a little bit of talk about, you know, air brakes and stuff that pertains to truck, and we did that for 2 days. So this all happened within a week's time. So the first 2 days we did nothing but paperwork stuff. By Wednesday, we was actually in a truck, a group of us. They took about 8 or 9 of us, and the first thing we did was shifting. We went on probably like a 2 or 3 mile stretch of road, and we went shifting. We was learning how to shift the truck. I know that they say they don't do that anymore because they're all automatic trucks now, but when I got there, we were working on a shifting range. And the next day, which was Thursday, we did road testing, and we was learning how to go around turns and stuff like that. And in Salt Lake City, you know, it's mountains and stuff, so we were getting training on mountains, going up hills, down hills and stuff like that. And then we did that like for part of the day, and then like towards the end of that day, which was Wednesday, you know, we was on the backing range. And then the beginning of Thursday, we went out for a drive. When we got back, we was on backing range. Friday, Saturday was all back in. Sunday was kind of a break day. We didn't do much on that day. And then come Monday, we went into a classroom and they was like telling everybody what day they're going to test on. And then my day came up, and it was Wednesday. I was going to take the driving test Wednesday, which CR England, I guess they have some things with the school. They have, they're recognized as a school, so they can actually test you there using their trucks. So I took the test. You know, at first you have to know the general knowledge. You know, you got to know how to test the brakes and stuff like that. And once you make it past that part, you go out on the road test. You take the road test. If you pass that, mind you now, if you fail any particular part, they stop you right then. You got to go. You got to come back the next day. Passed the first part, went on the road test for the second part, came back, last part, which was the back end. My back end, we did a straight back, a parallel park maneuver. Last one was, I believe, offset, where the truck is right here and then you gotta move it onto this side. That Wednesday, I passed, so now I'm able to get my CDL, right? I can go to the DMV and pick up my CDL because CR England submits the information that you pass. You go to your local DMV, which was Georgia for me, and I go to pick up my actual hard copy of my CDL, which in Georgia, you know, they give you a little paper and then your hard one will come in the mail maybe like 3 weeks later or so. Thursday is the actual hire day. You know, they take you in the room, you're hired because you passed your test, and then that's when they kind of explain some of the stuff on how you're going to get paid. And that's when they were talking about $10 an hour and stuff like that. After that point, that's when I got a call saying, hey, you know, your trainer's going to be here. And then I left that Friday. I left and was on the road with my trainer, Mr. Ken. I stayed with Mr. Ken for about 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks. This was like almost around this time, like a little, like beginning of October, this November. So like about a month earlier from this point, that's when I got my start. I was on the road with him, and then, you know, just learning the ropes. You know, I stayed with him for about a month, and then from that point, he dropped me off in Atlanta. I went home almost a week. I came back to Atlanta. I brought my car with me. I brought my car back with me to Atlanta so I can have ways to get around, because CR England at that point, they didn't have a way to get me from wherever I was at from Atlanta, like going straight home to down to, like, you know, Pula area, like Savannah, whatever. I couldn't. So the fastest way for me to get home when I got back is to go on home time. I'll go to the terminal in Atlanta, get in my car, and I'll drive home from there. That was the quickest way for me to get home. When I came back up with my car, I went to the DMV to get my hard copies of my license, because I was just riding around with him, which was, you know, I was in training, so I didn't actually need my hard copy because I still was riding with a licensed CDL driver, so I didn't need the hard copy at that point. That's why he didn't stop me to pick up my license or whatever. I didn't get it until I was about to go into phase 1 or phase 2. But with him, I started, you know, I learned all this different stuff, and that part was cool. That's where I got my initial start. When I got back, they put me in a hotel again. They stick you with 2 people, well, you and another person at this point. From that point, I was there just waiting around, because the DM that they assigned me with, they were going to try this new program to where they was going to have a team of drivers, right? I think it was 3 or 4 of us. It was 4 of us. It was supposed to be 4 of us, to where that, you know, we out and we run it, and it was a rotation thing. And when one person go home, the other person would get on the other person's truck, and y'all would carry on. So y'all was going to rotate the weeks each person go home. But it didn't work out because everybody wanted to go home at particular times, certain times, so that didn't work out. So me and my first co-driver, brand new, right? They stuck me with a dude. Good thing he was not a bad driver. He could drive. Like, he was kind of like on the same skill set as me. You know, very cautious dude, very considerate, and that's what it takes. When you're partners and co-drivers or co-partners, it takes a considerate person. Y'all got to be considerate of one another, right? So this guy, we rode for like 3 weeks, and we was, you know, it was a little shaky at first because we didn't know none of the system. I kind of knew because, you know, I was with my trainer, so we kind of knew the macros and stuff like that. But a lot of things we were faced with that we never faced with before, or your trainer, they just did it for you or whatever. But so we learned a lot of things on the go. We learned how to, you know, get to the destination on time and stuff like that. So we was together about 3 weeks, and then it was time for me to go home. And I went home, came back. When I got back, it was his time to go on home time. And then I didn't think he wanted to even stay with the company. He was like, you know, I'm out. Like, this ain't working or whatever. And at this time, You know, we ain't making much money. You know, we was running hard, so we was seeing $500 checks because, you know, we was running hard, you know, 6,000 miles a week, right? So, you know, even if we was getting paid small cents per mile, we was only making, you guys saw it. I did a whole video. I showed every single paycheck that I made with CR England, right? So to him, I got with Cliff. Good dude, man. Considerate guy. When it was my turn to drive, we had it down. You know, we had a plan. So it's not like, you know, I wasn't with no person. They be like, you know what, man, I'm tired. I can't make it tonight. I'm tired. I can't drive tonight. And you got to drive somebody a shift and all that just so y'all can make it to the destination on time. I didn't experience any of that with him either. And we rode together for about 2 months. So by this time, I'm in my 4th month. Trainer for a month. And then I was with the first guy for about a month. And then I stayed with him for 2 months. And we rode for 2 months. We went home on home time, came back, and he decided to become a trainer. Because at this point, he was eligible for be a trainer. So when we went back up to Salt Lake City, you know, I was at the time 4 months in, and they was like, well, you can't train, but you can go ahead and go through the process. You can take the course and all that to become a trainer at 4 months. And then when you hit 6 months, you know, you'll already have the class done and you can just start picking up students. So I said, okay, so when he was doing that, I went in there and I started taking the course or whatever to be a trainer. At this point, I was still undecided. I'm like, I'm not about to train. I'm just going to do it since he's here doing it. I got to pretty much wait for him because it was like a 2-day class. So I had to wait for him because I couldn't just leave. I couldn't ride solo. Completed that. We got back up on the truck together and for like another week. And then we came back to Salt Lake City. And then they gave me another truck. And then he kept the truck that we had. And then from that point, I ran solo for like damn near a whole month. I ran solo for like a month, and then they had a problem with that. They was like, no, you know, it's too many students, it's too many people. So, you know, they really like teaming. They like, because they refrigerated, they want to get things as quick as possible, so they like teams. So I was living good, man. I was comfortable. I was running my own loads by myself. So whatever I'm making, I'm trying to get all my loads in. Everything's good. And then when I got to Laredo, they hit me up, which is the terminal in Laredo. They said, hey, we got a guy there. We about to put him with you. And I said, no, I don't want nobody on my truck. Like, I mean, I'm good. Like, I done had to got comfortable. I'm by myself. I'm comfortable. They were like, no, you got to ride with this dude. We got to put him with you. So I was like, whatever, man. So they put the guy with me, Noel, African guy, cool dude. So he just couldn't really back. He had a problem with backing. I'm still new, but at this point, you know, I've learned a little bit. So he was with me, and then they made me the lead driver, and I got a little bit more cents per mile. And I ran with him for like a month. Very considerate guy. And, you know, when he couldn't back into a particular spot, he would wake me up like, hey, man, I need a little help. I need your help. And then I would get out and then, you know, help get into the spot. Got done with him. I dropped him off. He lived in North Carolina, and then I was going home on home time. Once I dropped him off, I came back out, and I was by myself again for like maybe a week. And then they called me up and be like, hey, you know, you've been here for 6 months. You know, we got a lot of people. We really need your help. Do you want to train? We saw you took the course for, you know, to be a trainer. Like, are you going to train? And I was like, I'll try, you know, I don't really want to train. They was like, okay, what we'll do is we'll put you with a retrain. A retrain is pretty much a guy, he knew how to drive, but he haven't used his CDL. He wasn't driving a truck, you know, within the past 4 months or 5 months. So they do like a refresher course or whatever. And they pay these guys $10 an hour and they make them ride with you for a whole month. So I was like, cool. So they basically put me with a co-driver, but I was getting all the miles on the truck. And that's where you see the checks reflect, you know, the $1,500, $1,700, because I was getting paid all the miles on the truck, running 5,000 to 6,000 miles a week. And I was getting all the miles on the truck. Ran with him for like a month, almost 8 months in. They put me with another guy I picked up once I came back on home time from that point, because after I dropped off him, he was a Mexican guy. After I dropped off him, I went on home time again. And then when I came back, I rode by myself for like a week or so, and then I picked up the next trainee, which was another African guy. And this is the guy was the main reason why I did not want to train. This was the test for me to do my job, you know, teach what I know, because he didn't know anything. And I couldn't sleep, I couldn't go to sleep. He was jamming on the brakes and all kind of crazy stuff. And like, he was missing exits, so we were supposed to be on schedule to go to the shipper or the receiver. He would ride, 100 miles past the exit, 80 miles past the exit that we were supposed to get off on. And then I wake up and we got to reroute because, we all off track. And I get up and I look at him, he just like straight face, just riding down the road like in a daze or something. I'm like, he's not even paying attention to the GPS. At that point, I did not want to train at all. So I kept him though. I put up with him because, we was out there on the road. I'm out here for 3 weeks. I'm far away from home. So we stayed with him for like 3 weeks. And then once I dropped him off to the Atlanta terminal, at this point, I'm almost 9 months. So I went solo because like, you can, at 6 months, you can stay solo if you want, because like when they put the first African guy with me, I was before 6 months, and they didn't want anybody solo if you had less than 6 months experience. So that was their reason, so they say, for that. So at this point, I can ride solo if I want to. So once I dropped him off, I rode solo. And then what I did was, like I said in a couple videos ago, what I did was I scheduled my home time. And then when I went on home time, while I was on home time, I got my last check, contract complete, and then I told them I wasn't coming back. And then from there, I went to Western Express, stayed there for a month, and then I landed where I'm at now. That's just an idea of how everything was going for me and the partners that I had with my experience with Sierra England. And that pretty much completed my contract. I was there long enough to go ahead and pursue other opportunities because my contract was fulfilled. So that's pretty much how my experience with Sierra England. I didn't really speak to Dispatch much. I really didn't get into it with Dispatch. We were stuck in the snow and
caught in a blizzard, and the roads are closed.
And we went through some ups and some downs, and that's why I showed you guys throughout the video, the footage that I had through some of the times that I was going through while I was out there. But I would say right now, people, if you looking to get into trucking, make sure you do your research, because don't do what I did, because like I said, I didn't know anything about cents per mile or anything. I just went because how much I was gonna make a week. Like, I needed to know how much money I was gonna make a week. And the guy was like, you're gonna make $500-600 while you're in training, and then it's gonna go up once you get done training. You should make $700 or $800 a week. That wasn't bad starting a new career, starting out in trucking, making $800 a week. That shouldn't be bad, right? But I didn't know any better. So do your research. I know they got plenty of other companies. People tell me all the time in the comment section that I could have did this, I could have went here, I could have went there. But wherever you get your start at, just know that if it ain't working out for you, if it ain't working for you and your family, then you got to make the decisions that's best for you. And that's what I did as well. I stuck it out. It was working for me at the time. I didn't, I knew that at the end of the day, it was a bigger picture. It was a bigger goal that I was trying to obtain. And then, I just stuck with it. So we're out here where we at now. And as you can see, I'm still here waiting, so I'm probably going to be here for the next couple of hours or so. So I thought I'd just, talk to you guys for a minute. What I'm about to do is edit this video up for you guys. And then until next time, thank you guys as always for watching my videos. See you in the next one.